I never really wanted to be a wrestler growing up. Honestly, never really crossed my mind. My dad was always just, that was something that he did before. My grandfather is Joe Blanchard. He founded Southwest Championship Wrestling around San Antonio, Texas. They brought the very first professional wrestling to cable television before anyone else. I remember when I was a little girl, I saw my dad wrestle once, and I remember just being so scared. I tried to run up to the ring, and they kept me back, and my dad went in the locker room. I just wanted to see him and make sure he was okay, and I was so scared. I love musical theater. I'm a huge musical theater nerd. My mom saw my passion for it, and she put me in the Charlotte Children's Theater. And I remember I would take the train all the way downtown 2 nights a week just to be with the kids. Did all the musicals in school, except for in high school. I auditioned and I didn't make one of them, and I was destroyed. And it was just, that's something that I think honestly got me through school because I looked forward to it. I hated high school. I always say I didn't really know where I fit in. I loved theater and I loved choir, but I didn't really know who I was. It seemed like everyone had their group of friends, and I kind of I got along with people and stuff, but I didn't really know who I was in school. But I always say finding wrestling, it's I found something where I'm this is what I'm supposed to do. It's it just makes sense. Being in the ring and traveling, and it's I can lose myself in something, and it makes sense. I turned 18 and I left home. I got kicked out of my house and I lived in downtown Charlotte on my own for a year, and I didn't talk to anyone in my family for a whole year. I was hanging out with kind of a rough crowd. We'd get to work at 10 p.m., work until 2, leave at around 4, maybe hang out with people until 6 or 7 in the morning, then sleep all day, wake up, do it again. I wasn't really working towards anything. It was just kind of living. And I remember I was in my room in downtown Charlotte one day and sitting on my floor, and I was like, Tessa, what are you doing with your life? What do you want to do? And I looked up a wrestling school. I don't know what it was, just I looked up a wrestling school. I found out High Spots was 20 minutes from me at the time. And I showed up one day and talked to Michael Bacucchio, who owns High Spots, and said, I want to be a wrestler. And they let me go to training. It was a Tuesday. I went in the back warehouse, and George South, Cedric Alexander, Caleb Conley, a few local talents were all there. I'm sure no one took me seriously, really. But I changed clothes, and they let me get in the ring, and I bumped a few times, hit the ropes some, and my first initial thought was just this hurts, but I love this.
Very old school. Tackle, drop down, hip toss, flying head scissors. Take him right over, right back to the lockup. Okay, and we're done. Remember, take the forward slowly.
Training with George South was absolutely incredible. I do not think that I would be the athlete that I am today or the woman that I am today without his guidance. He's pushed me to reach my full potential and then exceed that. That's something so cool to me, to have someone that just believes in you that much.
Hi, wrestling fans. This is Mr. Number One, George South. You know, I've been a professional wrestler for over 40 years. The number one question that I'm always asked is, where can I go to get pro wrestling training?
He pulled me off to the side. We were in the warehouse, and he goes, Tessa, you can't train here anymore. And I'm like, what, why? No, don't say that, why? And he was like, because your dad and your family don't know you're training, and I know them, and this could be a problem. And I was like, no, don't worry, I got this, I'll handle it. And that's actually how I started talking to my family again, because I called my dad, called my stepdad. My stepdad is Magnum TA. He wrestled back in the NWA days. I told him that I was training to wrestle. And I think it was kind of out of the blue for them. They didn't really expect it, maybe. I invited them to come check out training, and we're in the ring training, and I see my stepdad and my little brother roll in. I was like, hell yes, Cedric, let's do our thing, let's go. And we're in the ring just going, and we're just doing our thing. And afterwards, I remember my stepdad rolled up to the turnbuckle, and I leaned down, I'm sweating, drinking my water. I'm like, what'd you think? And he was like, well, you're not good, but you have it. Now you gotta go out there and you gotta become undeniable. And that's where my whole undeniable thing comes from, because that just stuck with me. When I started wrestling, I had this reputation about me. I think a lot of people that I had never even met, or people that didn't even know me, would say things about me like, Tessa's only here because of this, or because of that, or because of this. Anything but hard work. I remember one instance where I was working for a company in Los Angeles and someone blatantly told me to my face, I didn't have a family name, I had to work for everything that I have. And that just kind of hit me and like really? Like, okay. In this match, I broke my collarbone. The girl had pulled me straight down and I landed right on it. And afterwards, she proceeded to work on my collarbone after I had said that it was hurt. And I was very, very new. I didn't really know what to do in those kinds of situations, but I had to get rushed to the hospital and I had surgery that weekend where I had to get a titanium rod and 7 screws put into my shoulder. And I was off of wrestling for about 6 months. It was a really low point for me because I was at home and my boyfriend at the time had broken up with me the day after my surgery, and my mom had said she had never seen me like this before because I couldn't wrestle, I couldn't lift weights. I was sitting in this recliner and eating applesauce for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and I just didn't feel purpose, really. That was a huge learning experience for me because I had, through getting injured and through that whole mindset mess that I had to go through, I really found self-love. I learned to love myself. I learned that if you really love something and you really believe in something and you apply yourself, then you can do almost anything. I worked the first ever women's match to ever be televised in China. We worked in the Dongguan Arena in front of 18,000 people. That was the largest crowd that I've ever worked in front of. I have the longest women's match in history currently against Mercedes Martinez. We went 75 minutes. It's another way I want to make history in my own way, like I said. I want to do the unexpected. I want to do what people don't expect me to do. And that was one of those little things I wanted to check off.
She's back up with a look of determination and a flurry of forearm shots now. Again, sacrificing that bad knee to do some damage to Martinez. Got that adrenaline flowing through her body, trying to fight.
When I think about when I started wrestling and where my mind was and the dreams that I had for myself, they're very different from my path now. I had this vision and all the ducks were in a row and this is how it was gonna be. And then everything kind of just played out very different from me. I ended up doing the Mae Young Classic, the very first one, and I wrestled Kairi Sane, who is a dear friend of mine because we did tours of Japan together. So then when they told us we were wrestling there, she was crying, I was crying. We were like, this is just supposed to happen. And we went out there and had our match, and nothing happened after that as well. And Impact offered me a deal, and I trusted my gut and I said, I want to go to Impact. I think Moose helped me a lot with it. He's like my older brother in wrestling. He was just like, Tessa, I think you'd really like it here. I think that you would do so well here. And I trust him a lot. He's a crazy person. He's so eccentric and just out there, but Moose, you just gotta love him. And so I think he definitely helped me with my decision making.
And now, introducing her opponent, making her way to the ring from Charlotte, North Carolina, this is Tessa.
Right off the bat, I noticed how the locker room got along, and the locker room wanted everyone to do well. Everyone was pushing each other to do their best. And that's something that you don't really see often, especially among women, which is very unfortunate. And I think we have a very strong women's locker room. All the women get along. There's no weak links. But then when I signed, I went all in. I want to take the credit for my hard work and for what I'm doing. I don't want someone else to make me a star and take all the credit for that. I want to work hard. I want to fail and then pick myself up and learn from it and then go and succeed. I want to do things that people don't expect me to do. I want to make history in my own way. I want to fight the girls. I want to fight the guys. I want to just have that in my back pocket and say I did that. When I started at Impact, I didn't know that I was going to win a title. I didn't know that I was going to do any of that stuff. I didn't know that I was going to wrestle Gail Kim. I've said it in Impact before there was like this women's evolution. Gail Kim was out there fighting for us. So to share the ring with her, that was huge for me.
Goes back in, no rope break. Knocked her up again. She's got it sunk in, Josh. Gail Kim taps out. She tapped out. She tapped out.
Here is your winner,
Some of my most favorite matches that I've ever had have been against guys. What I love is going out there, wrestling with the guys, showing that as a woman I can go toe-to-toe with some of the best of them. I can hit hard and I can go. I think that guys have that different way of thinking in the ring, and I watch and I observe, and then I go out there and I execute, and I start to get it in a different way. And I like the fact that when I'm able to go out there, I can show that I can go toe-to-toe with some of the best guys.
She got it! Goes for the cover, hooks the leg, and Tessa Blanchard has vindicated herself, and she's pinned Joey Ryan.
People keep asking me what's next for me after my match with Gail, and I see people making history. I see women making history all over right now with this whole women's movement, and it's neat, but I want that too. I want to do something different. I want to do something that Tessa Blanchard did. And I think through intergender wrestling, I think I can do that. I don't want to be good, I want to be great. I don't want to be passable, I want to be one of the best in the world. And I believe in myself, and I know that I can do it. I don't know what the future holds, but maybe I'm shooting like super big right now, but I believe in myself to go after that.
Here's how my story goes. To get to the top, I had to feel the pain. Blood, sweat, tears fell to the ground.